Here we are this morning with an episode of Crypto Posse number 19. I mean, how did we get there already? I don't know, but here we are, and let's get it rolling. And hello to my posse.
What's
good,
happening?
guys? Gonna
Yeah, it's going good. I mean, what a beautiful weekend everyone had, I'm sure, because the weather here in Southern California was phenomenal. I mean, really, we are spoiled. We could just say that. But because I hear about people in different parts of the nation, and, I don't know if I'd want to be there, but nothing against anyone. I just know that we're experiencing a beautiful summer weather here in early July for episode 19 of Crypto Posse. And I want to say, let's get to it. I know Mike's got something really interesting to talk to us today about this new Satoshi era 80,000 Bitcoin resurface. And let's just jump into that, mister.
in a shocking development, roughly 80,000 Bitcoin mined between 2010 and 2011. In today's market, worth over $8.7 billion resurfaced. So, some of these coins, like the average price that these coins were purchased for was around $3. So, they only paid about $210,000 for all these coins, and for them to be valued at $8.7 billion is a pretty crazy investment. So,
Yeah. Wow, that'll wet your whistle on a Monday morning, won't it? Damn.
yeah, for sure. So it's interesting because, there's speculation on where these came from, if it was an early whale or the infamous baby Jesus, which is Roger Ver. He was an early Bitcoin evangelist, so to speak. So that's why he got the name Baby Jesus. I mean, Bitcoin Jesus, excuse me. So there's speculation that it might be him or just an early whale or maybe some miners, but the crypto community is on guard, just wondering what's going to happen with these coins if they're, going to be entered into an exchange and potentially be sold. So it's interesting, to see what the outcome of this.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, what's the posse's take on that? It's a heck of a subject, Mike.
Well, that's 240,000 at $3 to start back then when Bitcoin, didn't really know where it was going to go.
Right.
And in perspective, I think MicroStrategies owns roughly almost 600,000, and then BlackRock owns almost 700,000 Bitcoins, and they're a massive, the biggest holders as an institution. So this is one person that has 80,000.
I guess he's doing pretty well. I mean, Will, what do you think about that?
Here's a good question to ask. Would you consider these people lucky?
Yeah. And where's it going to go? What about next year if it doubles or triples? I mean, think about that.
What doubles or triples? In other words,
Bitcoin,
if
the price
Bitcoin
of
literally
Bitcoin.
if Bitcoin literally went to 200,000 versus 100,000, give or take, or
Yeah.
300,000, and do we think, not trying to predict, we don't have any crystal balls here, but do we think that's, in the cards possibly to do that within the next year or two?
Yep, I do.
I mean, I don't know if it'll happen in the next year or two, but it's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when it happens.
You feel that solid about that, Will?
I mean, economics 101. You've got a really large demand and you have a finite supply. And if you add one plus one, that's going to equal two. Numbers don't lie, people do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty exciting. I mean, just from that point of view for them. But what I don't want to say screw them, but I'm going to say screw them because what about us, man? We want to be part of that party. So I guess the call out is just to really feel confident about where things are at with Bitcoin. And what does this, I would ask the posse, what does this have to do with overall strength would this increase the strength of Bitcoin, or would it diminish it to some degree by the appearance of these 80,000, like coins, like Bitcoins? What does it do, if you understand what I'm asking?
I guess the question is whether or not it comes onto the market. That the guys had shown restraint and a lot of patience, not selling. So, it depends if they got put on an exchange, you definitely probably see, some volatility in Bitcoin's price.
So if it does get put on an exchange, you would think that that would kind of affect it in what way other than being volatile, up or down? Where would it take it?
Down, and it'd be a little bit of a panic knowing that it's on the exchange, and especially if it was sold.
And why would that be?
It just induces fear into the market. People see, oh my gosh, because everything's tracked on the blockchain and we can see it, it's public information. I mean, imagine this dormant wallet, with however many hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of Bitcoin that are there. The moment that that moves to the exchange, retail automatically thinks, oh my gosh, they're going to dump the price. What they don't understand is that these exchanges need that. Why? Because they're going to sell it to these institutions or retail.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. It's stimulating to the market. It'll just shock it, and that shock and awe, and eventually have it'd be stimulating. Even though at the moment it might make some individuals have fear.
So it'll create turbulence. And when you're in the sky, of course, that's scary. But the reality is, and we've been talking about it, don't get distracted. It's so crazy to me because it sounds so easy to do. But when your emotions are in play and you've got the news that is just literally projecting these narratives, I mean, the world is so emotionally, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but they're emotionally immature. And you could see it because when what we're talking about, you get these Bitcoin that hit the exchange and it's like the fear starts to step in. But I got one word to define all this. One, it's called opportunity. Either you take it or you don't.
Yeah, and it's like everything else in that subject you're talking about. Even if anything happens globally, you see the news and people are kind of I'm not trying to be condescending, but they have this kind of like sheep mentality where whatever they see on the news, whichever pumped down their brain, they affect emotionally, right? So in a sense, it's a puppet master situation where they can just kind of just manipulate people if they want to. And I'm not claiming who's pulling those strings. I'm not here to say anything about that. I'm just saying that seems like what we're saying is no matter what happens, people react to that. I mean, tangibly or not. It's just kind of an interesting perception of truth, which I guess it's obvious.
It's super obvious. And I'm going to say this is not my opinion. So no one can come at me and say, oh, this guy is saying something. These are just straight facts. That's it. What do you do with the facts? It's like that mic drop. Boom. Okay. We said what we said. We all know. But I'm going to go out and just say this for on air because I get the opportunity because of you. It's straight manipulation. They are manipulating people. They're doing it through the emotions and they're keeping people in this state of being. And how likely are you to make a really solid financial decision if you're distracted or if you're caught up in your emotions? And I'm not saying it can't happen because it's a game of probability, but the probability is telling me that your emotions are going to wreck you. And I've been there. So I'm speaking from experience, and that's why I'm sharing because it's just another value add to what we're already doing here at Crypto Posse.
I couldn't agree with you more. Just a really interesting topic. Nevertheless, to start out the show, I think it just unveils the potential empowerment of the individual to look through the quagmire of media to find the truth really in their own self as an investor. Like, just really find your inner strength. And, to a lot of degree when things are volatile, I mean, it creates opportunity, like you said, Will. So that's what we're generally here to talk about on Crypto Posse is to try to not be that place of, where you might get a sense of truth and kind of, I don't want to say brotherly love, but that kind of vibe where we're just here for ourselves and for our friends and for our community to just kind of rap out about things that are more bringing us together, shedding the fear, introducing the awareness of opportunity in the midst of all that, and at the same time having fun talking about different topics, which leads me to a segue to get with Jeff and talk about what you got going this week, Mister, which has something to do with Blackrock'S bags. I mean, would you talk to me?
Yeah, it's what BlackRock is holding and investing in major ways, both indirectly and directly. So they hold Bitcoin through iShares Bitcoin Trust, which is called IBIT. And then it's a spot Bitcoin ETF, which was approved in 2024 on behalf of its investors. And then also, they're moving into Ethereum. So they filed for a spot Ethereum ETF called iShares. And that's expected to go, excuse me, that's expected to go live mid to late 2025. So I'd imagine at that time we would see a nice rise in Ethereum as well when that goes live.
Wow. Let me just say, wow. We just got some topics coming off this morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, freaks, geeks, and tweaks. Here we are at Crypto Posse talking some language. I know you guys want to respond to that.
Ethereum's hopefully going to build some momentum here with all the stable coins and, the Stable Coin Act coming on. Most of the stable coins are on Ethereum. So I think that's going to help pump the price for Ethereum. And then when you have an ETF as well, there's many analysts that are saying, if Bitcoin makes a good run, Ethereum could run up as high as, $5,000 to $7,000. So,
And it sits where as we speak?
it's about 25, 26 guys. Where are we at on it right now?
Right about there.
$25 and it could go up to 5,000.
2,500.
Okay, so there's a projection that it could double.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say for sure. I think, and what's the highest Ethereum's been in the 4,000 range, correct? Am I right on that? Somewhere right around there?
You are. I'll check real quick. I know its all-time high is exactly what you're talking about, somewhere in the 4K range.
I love it on our show when we're like talking and someone's checking something. I just dig that whole vibe. Yeah, Will, thank you. I love this whole thing of like some people show graphs, but what we show is our boy checking it out. You know what I'm saying? It's just cool.
What a wild ride that was too, man. Like, it's so crazy to look back and know that I've shared this before. I was purchasing Ethereum at like $90, and that was before this big run up. And the big run up hit about $4,800.
Whew.
Did that guy get lucky too?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, lucky, but also, just smart.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I like to perceive it is all I see is the writing that's on the wall. It's clearly right in front of us. We've been talking about it for weeks now. And that is to me, and you were talking about it, making money is cool, but sharing, that's the true currency for me, is sharing with you guys, giving me the ability to share these thoughts that are floating around in my mind to try to piece this all together. And because of this and because of these conversations that we're having, it's allowing me to clearly see what's being written on the wall. And we're talking about it. All this stuff happening in the background, yet all this crypto is being built out. These regulations are being laid out. The big players are here. And what Jeff is touching on, BlackRock, it's the biggest fund in the world globally. And these people are involved.
I mean, that's got to be a good sign just that in itself, right?
Yeah, and how Will always says, what's happening behind the scenes. BlackRock is also investing in blockchain infrastructure, not just coins or crypto. And they partnered with Coinbase to use its custody and trading tools. And they're also looking into private firms into DeFi and tokenization. So there's a lot going on that we don't know about behind the scenes, building the structure of crypto. So, for years on out, I feel, crypto is going to have its up and downs. It's definitely moving forward. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, because they're working so much on the infrastructure. It's like the early days of building America when they were, building the train tracks across the West, or they were building highways, or they were putting in telephone and power lines. I mean, in a sense, it's kind of that that's that time, right? There was a dream that was America, but what they had to do was build the technology to make that dream happen. So metaphorically speaking, this would be a similar time to, like, say in the, what was it, like the mid 1800s, when they were literally building the train tracks from the east across the center of the United States, over the Rockies and the desert to California, the promised land of natural resources. I mean, California is just absolutely such a rich land, but they had to get here. And here we are, similar. I mean, different, but similar. We agree on that?
I totally agree. And then what did that do for us too, right? After you started to put in these railroads all around the United States, what did that do for us?
Well, we got access to all the markets.
Exactly. That opened up trade and
they got access to our natural resources. So our lumber and all the different things that we have, California is such a rich, all our agriculture. I mean, we know that California is now one of the biggest bread belts in the world, right? So, I mean, we produce so much food, not just for Californians. So those trains were bringing stuff here, taking stuff from here, and that commerce created billionaires all over, people that were intelligent enough to somehow be connected to that trade in a sense, right? I mean, there was people who like built houses and did that labor, and maybe they were mining for gold up in the, up north or different things. And that was cool too. But I think the people who saw the vision, saw the business potential of getting involved with that commerce.
exactly. And that actually ties back into what we started out with. Those people that invested into this asset when it was the scariest, nobody believed in it. It's exactly what you're saying. It's like, put ourselves back then when these railroads are being built. I'm sure there was a bunch of pushback from people and there's a lot of fear and, it's that fear of the unknown. But exactly what you're saying is happening. And those people aren't lucky. They're just seeing what I am now seeing, which is the writing on the wall. And again, we've touched on all these topics before, so we don't need to get into it. But it does answer that question. Did these people get lucky? Because it seems to me that the people that actually don't utilize the technology or don't use the train to go, expand themselves, whether it be business or for travel, those people get left behind. And what a sour taste in your mouth. I remember this, growing up, we used to call it drinking haterade. And they're hating, but it's not about hating another person. It's more like, man, don't even hate yourself. Just realize, hey, there needs to be a shift in your mentality. You need to start looking at things more opportunistically. And then that really puts you in what we're talking about. It puts you in the driver's seat to take advantage of this technology. And have you guys seen this? I think it was recent tweet from Trump where he's flat out saying that, like, if we didn't pick up the ball and become what he's trying to make us, which is the AI, crypto and AI capital of the world, you don't think another country would be doing that?
Yeah, they would. Absolutely. Who do you think that would be if it wasn't us?
Oh man, I know this is my opinion, even though I wanted to come out and say for a fact, right? But in
Lay
my
it on me,
opinion,
mister. Lay it on me. Yeah.
I think, well, I know it'd be China. They're so driven by technology. They've got the whole biometric system already in play. I've seen these cool videos on YouTube where like these street racers, it's because that's like the big scene, right? The little rice rockets and whatnot. But they can't even really break the law anymore because they've got biometrics and they've got to wear like face masks and things. And then I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna put a face mask over you, but then you're gonna have all these very specific stickers on your car and these colors, and you don't think that they can find your car? Put that mask on.
I mean, they're maybe the thing about the Chinese, and we don't want to go off on this, so just say real quick, they're not quite as used to the personal freedoms that we are. So the Chinese kind of buy into the collective, they seem to be okay with, to some degree, much more okay with, being ruled by a governing power where, as Americans, I feel like we inherently have the soul of America came from the freedom seekers who originally came here trying to get away from monarchies, and like we have a love of freedom here. So putting that mask on us might be a little more difficult.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, it's happening. How do you open up your phone? Which biometric path do you take? Do you do it with your face? Do you do it with your thumbprint? Because passwords are being phased out.
Well, I still do it with a password, even though I could do it with other, I know there's a face, situation on there and all that, but I like to keep manual. I don't know. I like that thing of like, I still remember my best friend when I was a little kid's phone number, from 14 centuries ago. It's like I just really love that manual. That's just me. I know the whole world's gotten to where you just, you don't even know your friends' numbers anymore. Yeah, that scares me. To be honest, that scares me. It's like when you're in your car, I always like to have a manual window, where you just do with this to your window instead of like hit the button, because if you hit the button and it doesn't work one day, now but if I have a manual override, what I would always have if I was designing cars would be, yeah, I know it's cool to hit the button, but I would also always have the crank.
A backup.
Yeah. I feel like manual backup, everything on your computer, then your computer goes down. What happened to, companies used to have file cabinets with actual files physically on paper in a cabinet. And I just think even still, you should have that as a backup. But as the world's gone pure techno, I feel like we're losing touch with that. And that's personally scares me. I'll just throw it out there.
Especially when they put all the tech in the window. Like, who would put it in glass? You break a windshield these days on a newer car, it's like 2 grand.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, why would you put it in glass? Put it in the dash or something. All the tech, turn signals, self-driving, everything. It's in the window.
I can't even comprehend that, to be honest. Yeah, my comprehension is little, but I would say another great topic for us to go here on Crypto Posse this morning, episode 19. Yeah, baby. Yeah. But I'm going to segue again into Will's topic, which is, are you ready to be called lucky? And I want to hear about this one because, you've had a tone today about that. So let's go into that one further.
I've heard it. That's where that question is stemming from. And again, going back to that scenario of if you buy these dips, you have skin in the game. That means that you're not going to miss the train. At least in your mind, you're not going to miss this train because you physically took action. And then that's that question that people come to me like, man, oh, you got lucky. You got lucky that you invested in XRP at 50 cents. Or, oh, you got lucky that you were in crypto, when Bitcoin was 3,500 bucks, Ethereum was like $90. And in my mind, I'm thinking, luck, I mean, okay, I'll give you that. Maybe a little bit of it was luck, even though I don't believe in that. I believe in coincidences, where if you take that word and you break it down, it's things that are coinciding at the same time. And that's where I like to turn that luck into I was just maybe in the right place at the right time. In fact, I still remember the story of when I first even heard the word Ethereum. And I was just like, when I heard that, something inside my soul, it like spoke to me. And then when you add in a word, have you guys heard of this word called gematria?
I have not.
So it goes back to like the ancients, and it's real simple. It's like you probably have even used it, but not heard it in that way. But all it is A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and it's that cipher. And I remember as a kid, I think they even had it in that movie, that Christmas movie with the Red Ryder BB gun.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
It's like this old school movie, and I remember he like sent something in the mail, and he got something back, and it was like this cipher code, and he needed to decode it, and it was like this crazy thing, right? Well, it's happening today, and it's actually kind of crazy, It actually speaks to me when you say the number 19, because people, when we were going through C19, and this has something to do with luck. Do you think it's lucky that I know that the number A equals 1? Is it luck that I know that the letter I is 9? So you've got 19 But then if you put that in letter form, that equals AI.
Wow.
Oh shit. And now you've got COVID-19 and everyone's talking about 19 and 19 and 19 and 19 and they're putting it out there, right? They have no fucking clue that they're talking about AI and then exactly what happened after COVID-19. Did we not get an explosion of AI? Oh shit, here comes the writing on the wall, people. And that's what removes luck. There's no luck here. It's called don't get distracted. It's called go ground, go touch grass, go touch water. I talk about it all the time. And in fact, this last week, I don't know what you guys got into. Dude, I went on the most beautiful hike out here in California, like you're talking about. We pay for this weather, and I'm
Yeah, we
going
do.
to enjoy it. We pay for it.
We do, because it's not cheap to live here. Man.
And and it was in Fallbrook. I know you guys know about
Yeah,
Fallbrook,
beautiful area. Yeah,
dude,
beautiful area.
and it allows me to disconnect. It allows me to clearly understand the thoughts that are going through my mind because they're going through me. It's an energy thing. And then I'd like to just nail this down and say, no, none of these people are lucky. They see what's happening. Jeff is talking about BlackRock, and I really hope at this point, maybe even pray a little bit that people do their research into what BlackRock even is, who they are, and how much of the world that they own. Because when you go to the grocery store, people, you're buying their products. And what's crazy is this: these people are selling you stuff that will make you lose your hair. But then in the same aisle, they're selling you shit that's going to help you make your hair grow back.
That's so true.
Oh man. Oh, let me tell you something. On Crypto Posse, we'll bring some pretty incredible topics every week. I mean, you really come from a really unique perspective on both life, strategy, attitude, everything. It's something I think is very rare in the crypto world. So we're just really stoked to have you on board from day one. I personally, as an individual, feel enhanced as a human by your energy and your topics. And well, we do talk a lot about the business end of things. We don't do any predictions. We just bring the humanistic element. I think you're just such a key ingredient to that. Well, I want to thank you so much for what you brought today, for what all you guys brought today. But I just want to say thanks again to my Crypto Posse. And just remember to comment, like, subscribe, because we need those subscribers to keep this show alive. Bring it. Let's do this. And I just want to say, have a great week. Over and out, Crypto Posse.